Right now, somewhere in your fridge, there's probably a tray of chickens sitting under plastic film. It looked fresh on the shelf. The lighting made it glow. The packaging had a little flag, maybe a farm name, maybe a welfare badge that felt reassuring enough not to question. You didn't think twice. Why would you? It's chicken. Everyone buys it. It's the most eaten meat in Britain. But here's the part almost nobody stops to ask. What actually happens to a bird between the farm and that plastic tray? And why do so many of us cook it exactly the way the recipe says, and still end up with something that shrinks in the pan, leaks a strange watery liquid, and tastes like almost nothing at all? It's not always your cooking. Sometimes it's not even the recipe. Sometimes the answer was decided months before you ever picked it up. In a shed, in a supply contract, in a decision about how fast a bird is allowed to grow before it's sent to slaughter. Over the last few weeks, I went through public welfare audits, food safety reports, independent laboratory testing, and industry compliance data covering 12 major UK grocery chains. I wanted one simple answer: which supermarkets are cutting corners on chicken and which ones are actually doing it properly? The results were not close. Out of 12, only 2 came out the other side with genuinely strong evidence behind them. The rest ranged from disappointing to, frankly, a little disturbing. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 UK grocery stores whose chicken you should think twice about, based on documented welfare failures, safety incidents, and sourcing controversies. Then I'll show you the 3 that are actually getting it right, and why. Let's start with the ones that need to answer some questions. Number 5, Morrisons. Morrisons likes to present itself as a supermarket that's closer to the farm than most. It owns some of its own processing sites. It talks about British sourcing more than almost any other chain. And shoppers generally associate the brand with a kind of old-fashioned reliability. But when you look past the marketing and into the actual welfare data, the picture is a lot less flattering. Morrisons has publicly stated it sells some lines that meet the Better Chicken commitment, the leading independent welfare standard covering stocking density, breed selection, and living conditions for meat chickens. Notice the wording: not our chicken, not all our ranges. Some lines. That means the majority of what actually sits on the shelf, the everyday value and standard tier that most households buy week after week, is very likely still coming from conventional, high-density, fast-growing systems. Industry-wide tracking from Compassion in World Farming has repeatedly flagged that a large share of major UK food businesses are lagging behind on exactly the 2 hardest parts of the commitment: reducing stocking density and switching away from fast-growing breeds. Morrisons sits firmly in that lagging group, not the leading one. And this matters for more than just animal welfare. Fast-growing breeds are engineered to reach slaughter weight in a matter of weeks. That speed puts enormous strain on the bird's body. Legs, joints, cardiovascular system, all trying to keep up with a growth rate nature never intended. Vets and welfare scientists have pointed out for years that this isn't just an ethical issue, it's a quality one too. Meat from birds raised this fast tends to have a different fibre structure. Less firm, more prone to that watery, disappointing texture people complain about when they cook it at home. So next time you're standing in front of the Morrisons chicken aisle, ask yourself, is this one of these some lines, or is it the majority that isn't? There's also a labelling issue worth flagging here. Morrisons markets itself heavily around British farming heritage, red tractor logos, countryside imagery, language about trusted farmers. None of that is technically false, but it's also not the same thing as a welfare guarantee. A red tractor logo confirms basic legal minimums were met. It says nothing about stocking density, breed, or how quickly that bird was pushed to slaughter weight. Shoppers frequently conflate British with higher welfare, and retailers rarely go out of their way to correct that assumption. Number 4, Co-op. Co-op has spent years building a reputation as the ethical supermarket. Fair trade coffee, responsible sourcing campaigns, community ownership messaging, it's baked into the brand identity. Which is exactly why the gap between that image and its actual chicken sourcing is worth pointing out. Co-op has made progress on one part of the welfare picture. It has completed a full move to reduce stocking density across its supply chain, giving birds more physical space per square metre. That's a genuine improvement, and it deserves credit. But stocking density is only one piece of the puzzle. The other major piece, moving away from fast-growing breeds towards slower-growing, higher-welfare genetics, is something Co-op has not committed to. This half-finished approach puts it in an odd position. It gets to talk about welfare improvements in its marketing, while the underlying breed of bird, the one factor most directly linked to leg health, mobility problems, and meat quality, remains unchanged. Consumer feedback around Co-op chicken often echoes a familiar pattern reported across the industry. Pieces that release a surprising amount of liquid in the pan, a bite that feels softer than expected, and a flavor that many shoppers describe as underwhelming compared to what they remember chicken tasting like a decade or two ago. None of this is unique to Co-op. But given how heavily the brand leans on its ethical positioning, the gap feels more noticeable here than it would somewhere that never claimed to be different in the first place. If you've ever felt a small twinge of guilt-free satisfaction picking up a Co-op own-brand product because at least this one's doing things properly, it's worth knowing that, at least when it comes to chicken, the full picture is more complicated than the shelf edge suggests. If you're finding this useful so far, a like genuinely helps this kind of independent food research reach more people who are asking the same questions you are. Let's keep going. Number 3. Tesco. As Britain's largest supermarket, Tesco sells more chicken than almost anyone else in the country, which means its sourcing decisions affect more dinner tables than any other single retailer. That scale makes its welfare record worth extra scrutiny. Tesco has introduced some product lines that meet better chicken commitment standards, but it has not extended this across its full range. A significant portion of its everyday and value-tiered chicken, the packs most families are actually reaching for on a weekly shop, continues to come from conventional intensive systems built around speed and volume rather than welfare or eating quality. There's also a structural issue worth mentioning. Branding. Like several major retailers, Tesco uses countryside-sounding farm brand names on some of its chicken packaging. These names are carefully designed to evoke a small, traditional farm. Rolling fields, a farmer in wellies, that sort of imagery. Even though the product itself is frequently sourced from large-scale, high-density production systems with no connection to any single named farm at all. It's not illegal. It's not even unusual in the industry. But it does create a perception gap between what the packaging suggests and what actually happens before that chicken reaches the shelf. On the food safety side, Tesco has also had to issue recalls affecting chicken products in recent years due to potential contamination concerns, with customers advised to return affected items for a refund. Recalls happen across the industry and aren't automatically a red flag on their own. Supply chains are complicated and mistakes get caught. But repeated recalls, combined with partial welfare compliance and countryside-style branding on intensively farmed meat, paint a picture of a retailer prioritizing volume and price positioning over full transparency. Texture complaints follow a familiar theme here too, a slightly rubbery bite, an unnatural firmness that doesn't relax the way well-raised chicken should when it's cooked properly. It's not universal, but it comes up often enough in customer feedback that it's hard to dismiss as coincidence. There have also been earlier incidents involving allergen mislabeling and incorrect use-by dates on prepared chicken products, which points to broader quality control challenges across such a large and complex supply chain. None of these issues on their own would be enough to write off a retailer this size. Mistakes happen even in well-run operations. But taken together with partial welfare compliance and branding designed to suggest small farm sourcing, it's a pattern that's worth knowing about before you assume the cheapest pack on the shelf is simply cheaper for no reason. Number 2. Lidl. This is the one with actual laboratory data behind it, and it's the most concerning entry on this list. Between December 2023 and March 2024, an independent coalition of European animal welfare organizations purchased 142 packs of Lidl own-brand fresh chicken from 22 stores across 5 countries, Italy, Germany, the UK, Poland and Spain, and sent every single sample to a laboratory for pathogen testing. The results were significant. Across all samples tested, antibiotic-resistant bacteria were found in half of them. E. coli turned up in more than half. Listeria monocytogenes appeared in roughly a third. Campylobacter was present in over a quarter. Enterococci showed up in nearly half. Out of 142 packs tested, only 2, and that's about 1 in 70, came back completely clean of every pathogen the lab was screening for. Let that sit for a second. This wasn't a one-off inspection or a single bad batch. This was a structured, multi-country sampling exercise, and the results point to a systemic pattern rather than an isolated incident. Investigators linked these findings to Lidl's continued reluctance to fully commit to the Better Chicken commitment, despite it being one of the largest grocery chains in Europe, and having the scale and buying power to drive meaningful change across its entire supply base if it chose to. Lower welfare, higher density farming conditions are widely understood to increase disease transmission between birds, which in turn increases the likelihood of exactly the kind of contamination this testing uncovered. To be fair to Lidl, proper cooking kills these pathogens. This isn't a reason to panic about food you've already eaten safely, but it is a reason to think seriously about cross-contamination in your kitchen, about how carefully you're washing surfaces and utensils after handling raw chicken from this source, and about whether a supermarket with this data attached to its name deserves the benefit of the doubt on quality claims elsewhere on the packaging. What makes this particular piece of evidence harder to dismiss than the usual anecdotal complaint is the methodology behind it. This wasn't one customer posting a photo online. It was a coordinated, multi-country sampling exercise with consistent lab protocols applied to every single pack, purchased from different stores in different regions, specifically to rule out one bad batch or one poorly run store being responsible. When 5 countries' worth of samples come back showing broadly the same pattern, it stops looking like bad luck and starts looking like a structural feature of how the supply chain is run. Number 1. Asda. Asda has built its identity around being the value option, the supermarket millions of households turn to specifically to stretch a weekly food budget further. For a huge number of families, Asda chicken isn't an occasional purchase, it's a staple. Which is exactly why a recent development deserves attention. Asda has stepped back from its long-standing pledge to source 100% British fresh chicken, citing ongoing supply challenges in the poultry market and shifting some of its sourcing to producers in Germany. The National Farmers Union publicly described the move as disappointing, while Asda maintained it considers the change temporary and remains committed to returning to fully British sourcing. Temporary or not, it raises a fair question for anyone who's specifically been choosing Asda because of that British sourcing promise. What changed, and what does the chicken currently on shelf actually look like in terms of welfare standards, given it may now be coming through a different supply chain than the one shoppers were told to expect? On top of the sourcing shift, Asda's everyday chicken continues to be associated with the same complaints found across most of this list. Noticeable water loss during cooking, a softer texture that struggles to hold up under grilling or roasting, inconsistency from one pack to the next. Asda does offer higher welfare ranges sitting above its standard lines, and if welfare and quality matter to you, those tiers are worth specifically looking for. But the everyday entry-level chicken, the one most commonly bought, remains firmly rooted in the same fast-growth, high-volume production model as most of the brands already covered. There's a broader point buried in this one. Value and cheap get used interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. A product genuinely offers value when the price reflects a fair trade-off you've made knowingly. Maybe you've accepted a standard tier bird because the welfare range option doesn't fit this week's budget, and that's a completely reasonable decision to make with full information. It stops being value and starts being just cheap when the pricing relies on shoppers not knowing what they're trading away. That's really the difference this whole video keeps circling back to. So that's the list. 5 stores, 5 different reasons for concern. Some about welfare, some about safety data, some about a widening gap between marketing and reality. None of this means you have to give up chicken entirely. It means it's worth being a little more deliberate about where yours comes from. Now let's talk about who's actually getting it right. Number 3, Waitrose. Waitrose has made a specific, verifiable commitment, full compliance with the Better Chicken commitment across its entire own-label chicken range. Unlike retailers offering some lines or partial compliance, Waitrose has stated its full range now meets the standard, covering slower-growing breeds, reduced stocking density, and improved living conditions across the board, not just in a premium tier sitting apart from everyday products. Shoppers consistently report more predictable cooking results with Waitrose chicken, better browning, noticeably less water release in the pan, and a firmer texture that holds its structure rather than shrinking away. It sits at a higher price point than the value retailers on this list, but for what you're actually getting, full-range welfare compliance rather than a marketing tier, many shoppers consider it a fair trade-off and a realistic middle ground between everyday convenience and genuinely higher welfare farming. Number 2. Marks and Spencer. M&S has held better chicken commitment compliance across its fresh chicken range for longer than most of its competitors, and it shows in how consistently the brand performs across independent taste and texture comparisons. Whether you're buying breast fillets, thighs, or a whole bird, the results tend to be far more uniform pack to pack than what you'll find at most value retailers. The meat itself tends to hold together better under heat, brown more evenly, and lose noticeably less liquid during cooking. All physical characteristics that trace directly back to slower growth rates and lower stocking density. Flavor comparisons consistently describe M&S chicken as cleaner and more distinctly chicken tasting than budget alternatives, which sounds like a strange thing to have to say about chicken, but if you've tasted the difference side by side, you'll understand exactly what that means. It's priced at a premium, and it's often treated as the benchmark other supermarkets are quietly measured against. Number 1. Your local independent butcher. This isn't a supermarket, and it's not going to fit into everyone's weekly routine, but it deserves the top spot because it consistently offers something none of the supermarkets on this list fully can: real traceability. A good independent butcher can usually tell you exactly which farm your chicken came from, what breed it is, and how it was raised. Not a vague regional label, an actual specific answer. Smaller supply chains generally mean lower stocking densities and slower growth rates almost by default, simply because the economics of mass, high-speed production don't apply at that scale. The result tends to be firmer meat, noticeably less water loss in the pan, and a depth of flavor that's hard to replicate from an intensively farmed bird. However it's packaged, it typically costs more per kilo than supermarket chicken. But for anyone who's ever wondered why homemade roast chicken doesn't taste the way it used to, this is very often where the answer is hiding. Here's the honest takeaway from going through all of this data. Cheap chicken isn't automatically bad chicken. And expensive chicken isn't automatically good. What actually matters is whether a retailer has made a real, verifiable, full-range commitment to slower growth rates and lower stocking density. Or whether it's leaning on a badge, a countryside-sounding brand name, or a sumlines statement to imply a standard it hasn't actually reached across the board. Out of 12 grocery stores, only 2 came through with genuinely clean, full-range evidence behind them. That's not a great ratio. But now you know which questions to actually ask next time you're standing in that aisle, and which 2 words on a label are worth trusting a lot more than the picture of a farm printed next to them. A quick practical checklist if you want to shop smarter starting this week. Look for explicit confirmation of full-range better chicken commitment compliance rather than vague welfare language. Be skeptical of countryside-sounding brand names that don't correspond to a real, traceable farm. And if a pack releases a noticeable amount of liquid the moment it hits a hot pan, that's not just a cooking mishap. It's very often a direct physical signature of how fast that bird was grown and how much added water was retained in processing.